In this video, you'll learn 10 things that poor people get wrong. Most people, and this may even include you, are getting nearly everything wrong about money. It's no wonder why a Lending Club report showed that 63% of the US population was living paycheck to paycheck as of the end of 2023. But clearly this is an income issue, right? You're not getting paid enough to get by. Well, the study also found that 48% of Americans earning six figures are living paycheck to paycheck, so income is not the only thing to blame. Essentially, about half of the US adult population is supposedly raking in income that makes them upper middle class, but it sure doesn't feel like it. So what's happening? Well, there are just so many things that people are getting wrong about money, leading to their money troubles and even poverty. In this video, I'll shed light on 10 of them so you can avoid falling into a financial crisis yourself. Number 1, pursuing comfort instead of financial freedom. To be fair, financial freedom is the last thing you think about if you're poor. At that point, you crave a sense of financial comfort, nothing more, and that's the problem. See, if you are always pursuing comfort, you undermine your ability to become wealthy because these two concepts fall on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Comfort means working with what you have, while wealth means that what you have is working for you. Talk to a few people and you'll learn that many poor or financially strained people tend to jump into their hammocks as soon as they attain a certain level of comfort. Of course, this varies from person to person, but it often boils down to a decent income that can cater for expenses, rent, health insurance, one vacation per year, and that's it. However, the wealthy always find comfort in discomfort. That means they prefer to push further, even if they could just be content with life. Well, they understand that by getting out of their financial comfort zone, they can attain financial abundance. And once financial abundance is achieved, financial freedom is realized, which means more financial security than they would ever need. So if you want to get out of poverty, change your mindset today. Stop chasing comfort and go for financial freedom instead. Even if you feel comfortable with your current situation, don't let it get into your head. Pursue financial freedom by investing more, starting side hustles, and exploring passive income. Your ability to make more money and use it to grow your wealth is your fastest ticket to real financial freedom. Number 2, avoiding the math. I don't know about you, but I'm definitely guilty of avoiding the math behind my finances, or at least I used to be. Unfortunately, many poor people don't love math, which is understandable because who does? I mean, there is no denying that we often avoid getting into the thick of our finances because we don't want to give ourselves a headache. Unfortunately, you won't stay ahead of your business, investments, spending, and cash flow when you avoid the math. The rich prefer to keep tabs on their bank accounts and balance sheets and review them regularly. Neglecting the math can lead to serious consequences such as debt, poor investments, or bankruptcy. So what should you do? The good news is that you don't have to become a math wizard or take on any complex calculations. Collecting basic information from your bank accounts, for example, your earnings and expenses, is an excellent place to start. Consider using online or smartphone apps to do your math to get a clearer picture. It's nothing taxing, just the usual subtraction, addition, and the occasional multiplying and dividing. If you feel like you can more than handle this level of math and use it to get wealthier, let me know by hitting the like button below. Number 3, failing to make adjustments. Another thing most poor people fail to do is to rethink their money habits after a life-changing event. That's right, life is life, and it throws everything at you, small and big. When this happens, it's important for you to make adjustments in your life, and yes, this includes your finances at times. Maybe you've just separated from your partner and they were contributing to your household income. If so, don't you think it's time you change your spending? You do not need to live in that expensive apartment anymore, among other things, because your income has been considerably impacted. That's just one example, but you get the idea. There are many life-changing events, and if they have a financial implication, it's only right to change your money habits. Number 4, overspending. What comes to mind when you imagine the rich spending money? Is it the $600 million Airbus A380 private jet? A closet full of Manolo? Or is it the $4.5 billion History Supreme luxury yacht? To be fair, these are only reserved for the super wealthy, but the point is that wealthy people are more down to earth than you might imagine. That's right, they aren't out there blowing money on just about everything. Rather, they are busy investing, and if purchasing anything, they are doing it based on their present financial status. I mean, how can they maintain their wealth if they are spending it all? I know you see it. The rich are excellent at keeping an eye on their goals and their money too. On the other hand, most poor people spend much more than they can afford to live a certain lifestyle. The worst part is that they do it without even knowing it. Luckily, that's not set in stone. To avoid the poverty trap, be sure to always keep tabs on your spending to avoid going overboard. One effective way of doing this is budgeting, whether manually on a spreadsheet or with budgeting apps. The idea here is to challenge yourself to cut back on your spending as much as possible. Of course, without being miserable. One way to budget in just a few minutes a month is to use the split budget. This involves creating a divide between your spending and savings goals and spending accordingly. For instance, if you make $3,000 after tax and want to save 10%, then you can spend the other 90% or $2,700 on wants and needs. By following this budget, as long as you don't go over $2,700, you're guaranteed to be saving money and avoiding the mistake that so many poor people make. And if you want other game-changing savings tips, make sure you subscribe to the channel, as I'll be sharing more in upcoming videos. Number 5, not paying themselves first. And what does that mean? Well, paying yourself first is the practice of allocating a specific portion of your paycheck to yourself, so you can save and invest in things that add more value to you. Essentially, immediately after your check lands, you deduct that amount even before the bills or other expenses. This can be done in one of two ways. The first is by allowing your paychecks to come in and then deliberately transferring some of that money into a savings or investment account so that you ensure it's not spent. What you can also do is set up automated savings deductions with your employer. In this case, you can have part of your pay automatically redirected into a savings account. This means that you avoid the spending temptation and save yourself time. This is quite the savings hack if you ask me. Number 6, wasting money on fees. Many poor people undermine their financial progress by wasting a significant portion of their paycheck on fees. That's right. It's really difficult to grow your wealth if overdraft fees and missed payments are attending the party. Wealthy people understand this, which explains why they try hard to safeguard their wealth by paying their bills on time, avoiding high-interest credit cards, and refraining from issuing bouncing checks. For those who invest, fees can also be a problem. For instance, many people pay outrageous management fees on the financial products they own, sometimes upwards of 2%. If you are investing $1,000 a month and did so for 30 years, giving away 2% every year, you would have handed over almost $500,000 to your financial advisor for returns that you can get from a passive index fund for a fraction of the cost. Therefore, when it comes to fees, tread with caution. Number 7, choosing price over value. Price and value, this is a mistake poor people make over and over. Poor people tend to undermine their financial growth by being overzealous with frugality. Instead of forking out $200 on quality, long-lasting pair of shoes, they'd rather spend $50 on a low-quality alternative that lasts only a couple months at best. Or maybe they hold on to a cheap old car that's expensive to repair and maintain instead of getting a new, efficient, reliable model. You get the idea. But while there's no issue with wanting to get the most out of your money, it's likely better to emulate what the wealthy do. And what is that? You'll always catch most rich people comparing the price of something to its long-term value. They understand that the cheapest route does not always equate to value. Number 8, making too little of it. You heard right. Making too little money is one of the things most people struggle with and ultimately get wrong with money. See, saving and cutting back on your expenditure can only get you so far when it comes to building wealth. Why is that? Well, there is only so much you can save, and beyond that you can't save anymore. The same goes for spending. But do you know what has no limit? You guessed right, the money you can bring in. No matter what, you can always bring more cash into your account. So why not do it and take a better approach to improving your finances? The best part is that to make more money, you don't have to do anything drastic or unscrupulous. You could start a business on the side, find a better paying job, start a side hustle. The options are endless. Just soul search to discover one other thing you can do to earn more. Then a few times a year, repeat the process to find more ideas. It'd be great if you could set yourself up to earn at least $100,000 a year, and I believe that this is more than achievable for anyone watching this video, even you. Number 9, spending too much on housing. Are you spending too much on rent? If you are, then you are getting it all wrong. Spending too much on rent or a mortgage is behind most poor people's financial struggles. Ever heard of the term house poor? Well, it refers to people who spend a huge part of their incomes on either their rent or mortgage payments. If you want to avoid being house poor yourself, aim to keep your housing costs below 30% of your take-home pay. I know cost of living is extremely expensive right now, so if 30% isn't achievable, your best bets are downsizing or striving to make more like we just talked about. Number 10, failing to separate wants from needs. Another thing the poor get wrong about money is failing to distinguish between wants and needs. That's right. Do you find yourself using the word need for every purchase? If yes, you need to stop. The next time you go shopping, try asking yourself whether you actually need or want something. Saying you need everything causes you to believe that you need to spend your money. So, do you need that brand new car or iPhone, or do you just want it? One way to separate wants and needs is to undertake a spending challenge. Besides food, housing, and utilities, eliminate all other costs for a month. After the month is over, ask yourself what expenses you missed and which you could go without moving forward. This is the easiest way to delineate between your wants and needs, and you're guaranteed to save a ton of money in the process. Once you have excess cash, what you should be doing next is using that money to improve your day-to-day life, which I teach you how to do in this next video. So click on over and let's get started.